So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, the Occult View. Yes, I'm back with another video. Remember, I told you I only speak when the spirit tells me to. Give me 1 second. I have to charge up my phone. Give me 1 second. So let's have a little chat. Yesterday I was talking about Judge Joe Brown and the feud between he and Judge Mathis. And the reason that I'm talking about it is because there is so much emphasis, especially coming from Judge Joe Brown, that is always put on gay people and the LGBT community, or whatever you want to refer to it as. And he accuses Judge Mathis of being part of, I guess, the agenda. And maybe he is. Maybe he is. But see, what Judge Joe Brown doesn't understand, and what's not clicking with him, is that everyone is part of an agenda. He's part of an agenda as well. But because he's not a multidimensional person, and because he only has a one track mind, because that is how he's trained in his legal training as a judge, he's not trained to look at things in parables or in parallels. He's not trained to do that. He's trained to look at things at face value, which leads to a one track mind. So while we can point the finger at Judge Mathis for being part of the industry and the Hollywood industry and all of the things that are associated with that beast, we get it, we got it, but so are you. And this is something, and I'm not going to talk about this too much more, but do you know that in one of his interviews, I'm talking about Judge Joe Brown, he had the unmitigated gall to say that women who do not spend every penny of their child support money, let me say it again. He said that women who do not spend every penny of their child support money that they get every month, that women who do not spend every penny of that child support money on the child, they should be charged with fraud and embezzlement. Now, I find that very interesting. I find that very interesting, considering he's supporting a president who has been accused of similar things. So you mean to tell me if a woman gets $1,000 a month in child support, let's say for example, which really is not a lot of money in this climate, if she gets $1,000 a month for child support for two children, 500 a child, and you're telling me if she takes that $500 and is able to manage to spend that on both children and get them all the things that they need, and she takes the other 500 and puts it in her pocket, you're telling me she should go to jail for embezzlement and fraud? That is absolutely insane to me. I think women who go through trauma dealing with toxic baby daddies or toxic men that they have children with, I think they should be able to file a class action lawsuit. So instead of baby mamas getting mad at each other Instead of them getting mad at each other, I think they should all come together and say, hey, girl, listen, bitch, I don't like you, and bitch, you don't like me. But you know what? We got a common motherfucking enemy. It's that motherfucking nigga right there. Okay? Let's get together and let's file a class action lawsuit for mental distress, emotional abuse, and psychological abuse. Because let's be honest, the little bit of child support that some of these men pay, if they can pay it, it does not account for all of the abuse that some women have had to go through being in relationships with these types of men. Not all, of course. I'm not condemning men. I'm condemning these types of men. And if you don't understand the motherfucking difference, then you're dumb, retarded, and delayed. But I just wanted to say that because I forgot to mention that in one of his interviews a couple of weeks ago, he made that statement that women who do not spend all of their child support money on the child should be charged with embezzlement and fraud. He hates women. And that is why he doesn't have one. And they can make all of the excuses all they want. Because he did another interview on that same girl's channel talking about Judge Mathis yesterday. They're just going to keep going with this, right? But no one is looking. See, I'm always for the underdog, and in this case, Judge Mathis is the underdog. I'm not saying he don't participate in this or ritual. I'm not saying he ain't the things that Judge Joe Brown is saying, but Judge Joe Brown is a hypocrite, and I can see through him. I'm not saying Judge Joe Brown is wrong about everything he's saying. What I'm saying is he's a hypocrite. Because at least Judge Mathis has a wife. Yours divorced you. And I believe he has 2 children, and he never mentions them. So what's up with that? The disease of misogyny. Then he wanted to start talking about he knows psychologists and psychiatrists whom have pinpointed that there are mental illnesses, associated or, yeah, associated with being a homosexual person or a gay person. Well, maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe so. So, what do you want to do? If it's an illness, where's the treatment at? I'm not talking about that man made gay conversion shit. I'm talking about real treatment, real therapy. Not religion, not Christianity, not religion, but where's the treatment? How come they have not come up with a treatment plan? I'm not talking about, placing boys in the care of a psychopathic, sociopathic, pro-black person like a Umar Johnson. No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about responding with abuse or misuse. We're talking about responding with treatment if you all say it's a mental illness. Where's your treatment plan? There's never been one because they can't come up with one. So what do? They weaponize it. They weaponize it. The person that came up with the closest hypothesis that kind of made a little sense was Frances Cress Welsing. And she did that without weaponizing and condemning people. She made her Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she made her hypothesis and she said what she said. But these men and these misogynistic women that are really motivated by religion and illogical thinking, I don't take you fucking seriously. Now everyone is mad at Snoop Dogg because Snoop Dogg has reneged on the comments that he made about the same sex scene in that animated movie that he took his grandchild to go see. He's now reneging on those comments that he made. Well, it's too little too late. And now the black community is so angry with him. But these are the same people who will sit up and say that Trump is a racist. These are the same people who sit up and talk about how they're being so disenfranchised. These are the same people who are crying and foaming at the mouth because they won't open the government back up. Same people. These are the same people who are going to have to be in food pantry lines to get food. And I'm not knocking that. It's nothing wrong with that. But you have too much to say about other people when you depend on other people. I'm not going to have to be in a food pantry line. You know, when this government shutdown happened back in 2019, I think it was 2018, 2019, the end of the year, when it happened then, I was okay then. And I'm going to be okay now. See, the real God in the real universe looks out for its people. And the people that we keep listening to are low vibrating people. All of these social media influencers, all of these TV personalities, these are very low vibrating people. I don't care how much money they have. They're dark soul entities like Sylvia Brown used to talk about. And I don't care what anyone says, Sylvia Brown wasn't no fraud. What happened was when Sylvia Brown got caught up in Hollywood, when she got caught up in Hollywood, excuse me, when she got caught up in Hollywood, in the Hollywood effect, that is when things started to go downhill for her. Because Sylvia Brown was the real deal at one time. But when she started getting on TV with Montel Williams and all of that, even though that was, it was refreshing, it was comforting to watch, but that's when she went downhill. That is when her downfall came, when she got connected with that industry. I loved her books, I loved her teachings, but when she got connected with that industry, that is when shit started to go downhill for her. So they had to paint her as a villain, a fraud, because she gave out some predictions that were not right. And why they weren't right? Because it could have been a fucking setup to make her look like she was a fraud. Those people could have been fucking hired actors. How do we know? And she was only giving them what she saw. But a lot of these people are dark soul entities, low vibrating entities. And it's hard to combat them because, not because they're powerful, but it's because nothing shames them. They don't have a conscience. They don't have emotions. They don't feel bad about doing anything. They are comfortable being hateful. They are comfortable being weak because we confuse strength with weakness or with weak patterns, like attacking people for no reason, harassing people for no reason. because they have a different thought process than you. Let's really talk about these things. As I was, Spirit always gives me something to talk about. As I was preparing my breakfast earlier this morning, I was thinking about something. There is so much emphasis being put on the LGBT community, but I want to step outside of that title for a moment. No disrespect. But LGBT, and I've talked about this before, that's a political movement. And it has never benefited me. That's a political movement that benefits certain individuals who say that they're gay. But in actuality, as gay people, our job when we decided to come into these frequencies, our job was to help and assist raise the vibration and the frequency of the earth. The term gay has so many different meanings that you can get out of it. One meaning is happiness. Another meaning is harmony. Another meaning is joy and balance. That is what gay signifies. So whenever a child was born and the child began to exhibit signs of not being, how can I put it, not being or not fitting into the societal mold that you're supposed to fit into, then that's when they start attacking the individual, because that's what happened to me. That's what my family did to me. So when people say people are born gay, oh, it's possible. It may not be active until the person gets older. And once the person gets older, then those frequencies become active. Now, do I think all people are born gay? No, I do not. I think some people are ritualistic gay people. Like a lot of the people in Hollywood that you think are gay, or a lot of the people in the music industry that you think are gay, a lot of those are ritualistic gay people or ritualistic homosexuals. So once a person starts to grow up, that is when those energies start to become active. And you may notice that there's a difference in that person than the people over here. So that's when all of the programming starts. That's when they start telling you, well, it's a sin, you're wrong. Let's really talk about why they say being gay is a sin. It has nothing to do with sex. Oh, spirit talk to me today. Whatever y'all want to call it. What y'all call it? A demon spirit? You whatever. Whatever. It talked to me today. The reason that they condemned homosexuality so much is because, well, let me rephrase that. The reason that they condemn, there's a difference between being gay and being a homosexual. They can be intertwined. The homosexual part comes with the sex with men. As a gay person, we've all participated in homosexuality. There's nothing wrong with if you're a grown man and you are open and you want to have sex with another man, there is nothing wrong with that. The problem comes in is when you get caught up, because I got caught up in it too, when you own, that's the only thing you get caught up in and you don't know who you really are. The reason the Bible condemns homosexuality or being gay is not because of sex per se, or not, excuse me, not just because of sex, but it's because gay people came to help raise the vibration on the planet. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah, when you peel back the layers, the real reason that town was destroyed, and I'm speaking in layman terms, was because it was a spiritual city of gay people who were trying to raise the vibration on the earth. That's the symbol for why that city was really destroyed. Even though in biblical text it says they were doing all types of ungodly things, this and that, trying to have sex with the angels and all that. That's all bullshit and baloney. See, this is how they shape their how can I put it? This is how they shape their lies and the things that they're going to use to attack a group of people. It's the same thing that they did to women in the Garden of Eden. That's why women have the burden that they have on them, because they have said, meaning the men who wrote the Bible, they changed and they shaped their narrative. That's the word I was looking for. They created their own narrative and they blamed the woman for the downfall of mankind. So they said because Eve listened to the serpent, but the serpent is a higher frequency, higher vibrational being. But they said Eve listened to the serpent because the serpent talked to the woman. You notice that the serpent didn't talk to the man. See, the serpent is representative or symbolic of the spirit. So what Eve had to do was, in order to get the spirit to communicate with Adam, she had to give him some of the fruit as well. But they tried to create a narrative. That's why women have it so hard in this world. And it doesn't matter what your race is. I'm talking about all women. There are no racial barriers in this. Because even though you may think white women have it easier, they don't. They don't. So it's the same concept to create this narrative that gay people are horrible, bad people, because creating that concept, it would last throughout the generations. The Bible was the first Willie Lynch effect. The Bible was the first Willie Lynch effect because what it did was the first Willie Lynch letter. Because what it did was it demonized a whole group of people based upon lies. Because they don't want gay people like me, they don't want gay people talking like this. They want gay people to be like Saucy Santana. They want gay people to be like Charles and Netta. That is what they want. Or that other deformed looking, I can't think of his name, that other guy that does skits on, that is what they want. That's why they blacklist my channel. But that's okay, because I'm not here for fame and notoriety. We're supposed to be here to help raise the vibration of the planet. We are here on a spiritual mission as gay people to bring happiness, joy, balance, and harmony. But what has happened over the generations, because of the Willie Lynch effect from the Bible, because that was the first Willie Lynch letter, the Bible, because it condemned women and it condemned gay people based upon a false narrative. What has happened is that we've gotten caught up in the lunacy and insanity on the planet, myself included, until I had to wake up. I'm gonna tell y'all a secret that I haven't been saying anything. Slowly but surely, because of how men are, I'm becoming less and less attracted to men. Doesn't mean I'm attracted to women per se, even though I don't have an issue with being attracted to a woman if I was. But I wouldn't bring all this baggage that I have to a woman. Unlike, DL men, they're out here fucking men and getting fucked in the ass. They're ritualistic homosexuals too. They're out here messing with men and then bringing all of that heaviness to women. I'm noticing that because of the actions of men and because I can see them better now, because the veil has been lifted off of my eyes spiritually, I have become less and less attracted to men, especially black men. Especially black men. Because the veil has been lifted. And I'm beginning to look at people in terms of higher vibrating frequency, lower vibrating frequency. It doesn't mean that I think I'm better than anybody because I'm not better than anybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't operate that way. That's how they operate. That's how you know they're low vibrating. Oh, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. No, you're just low vibrating. I am becoming more asexual. I think that's what's happening. And that's a good thing because I'm retreating inwards. I'm retreating inwards inside of myself. And that's a good thing. It doesn't mean I don't desire sex, but it's just more and more when I look at people, men, when I look at them, they are just not on the appropriate level for me as a spiritual pure being having a human experience. I don't feel comfortable connecting with their energy. I definitely don't want to be laying up in the bed with them because they bring problems. And I'm beginning to really understand my true purpose is just to help raise the frequency on the planet. That is what we're supposed to be doing as gay people. But we got caught up, myself included. I got caught up with the good looking men and, the big whats. Oh, he fine. I got caught up in all of that too. But you know what woke me up? My friend Christopher that passed away years ago. Because that was the first time that I knew, ever since he died, I haven't been the same. And when I say I haven't been the same, I mean spiritually. And this is a good thing. Even though his death was hard on a human level, but on a spiritual level, something activated in me and changed. And that's what soulmate connections do. We help to transform each other. And I went through a transformation. I went through a transformation spiritually after he died. And it helped me to lift I'm sorry, I said the veil off of my eyes to be able to see things in a higher vibrating frequency. Christopher was a higher vibrating person. He could see within dimensions. He was a bad motherfucking boy. Man, he was bad. Powerful spiritual person. Even with all of his issues. So we've gotten caught up as gay people, we've gotten caught up in the chaos and the psychosis that is on this planet. We've gotten caught up in that. Not saying that we can't still have fun and, stuff like that, but we're really here to help raise the frequency on the planet with our creativity, with our thoughts, with like what I'm doing now, being a spiritual person innately, not a fake one, like we see floating around social media so much. How about as gay men, we should have never been messing with no DL men, myself included. But we got caught up because of what we saw. We liked the handsome nature. We liked the masculine energy. That's why when Judge Joe Brown said manhood, we like manhood, honey. We got caught up in that though. And then as a result, like with most of us, if we're being honest with ourselves, because I'm going to be honest with myself, most of those encounters with those men, they led to heartache, they led to misery, it led to low self-esteem, especially when I was in my younger years. I ran into some of the worst kinds of men, black men in particular, and I don't give a fuck who that offends. I ran into the most unkind, the most uncivilized types of people. I ran into the worst of humanity when it came to men. But you know what I'm noticing? Now that I'm transforming spiritually, and meaning I'm only my mind is, now that I'm transforming, a lot of those types of men, they're not around anymore. Or I've just elevated in my vibration and frequency, and they're not in this reality. Because I don't run into those types of people anymore. Now I have a partner. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't. Because he too, because I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I'm not one of these other people that's going to lie. I'm going to keep it 100. He too has issues. He too has issues. And a lot of times when I'm talking about men, I'm really referring to him without really saying it. He has minimum good qualities. He does. He has some good qualities, but he does not have the spirit. He does not have the spirit backing him up. But we came to this planet to help raise the frequency and vibration. And we have forgotten what we really came here to do. We've forgotten that. And we've gotten caught up in the rapture. Like Anita Baker would say, caught up in the rapture of love. When we're supposed to be here to help and assist in balancing things out. But again, because we're up under the biblical Willie Lynch effect that condemns gay people in Leviticus and condemns women in Genesis, because those things go hand in hand. We're up under the biblical Willie Lynch effect, which was the first Willie Lynch letter, the Bible. We're up under that. They condemn gay people in Genesis 2. in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, because those people were trying to raise the frequency and they probably weren't even gay. They were probably just androgynous beings that did not go along with the status quo, the control of the state, the control of religion, which is very low vibrating, which is why so many people connected to it, so many horrible things happen. They say that once they took prayers out of school, that was state and federally mandated, I hear this quite often. No, it wasn't because you took prayers out of school, you took the spirit out of school. Those prayers were not backed up by spirit because they were forcing prayers on everyone. They were forcing people to pray in school until Madeline Murray O'Hare said, au contraire. And I know a lot of people did not like her, but I did. I liked her. Those prayers were not backed up by the spirit. So it was going to fail whether they stayed in the school or not. Real gay people, real gay people don't have to be part of groups, cults, or political agendas and movements. It's almost as if we are like time travelers almost. We exist between the realms. We don't have to go by your rules. The universe gave us a wild card. We don't have to go by your rules and regulations. We came down here like every other person for a specific purpose. That is why I was born into a dysfunctional, toxic family because I'm the one that sticks out. Because I'm the one who's always trying to transform and better myself while my mother, my aunts and uncles, cousins, while they stay stuck. They stay stuck in the same low vibrating vibration and frequency. They stay stuck. That's why I had to separate myself from that. This isn't about being mean. This is about spiritual survival. I had to separate myself from some of my family for my own survival because I am of a different frequency. And I'm here to do different work. And that's not being arrogant, that's just what it is. We're here to raise the frequency on the planet. That is what we're here to do as gay people. But again, we got caught up in the rapture. We got caught up in having the coin and, having this and having the finest dude and this and that. And, we got caught up in all of that. And the spirit is going, hello, have you forgotten what I put you here for? Hello, remember me? Remember me? Remember the contract that I made with you? And I'm being layman, but you know what I'm saying. You came down here to help raise the vibration of this planet because this planet is very low vibrating and it needs assistance. You can have your fun, but don't forget who you are. We're not supposed to be participating as gay people in a lot of these, shenanigans and a lot of these agendas or whatever you want to call them. And I'm not referring to per se what Judge Joe Brown was talking about. We are supposed to be individual spiritual beings living our lives, helping to raise the vibration of the planet. That is what we're supposed to be doing. Fuck them niggas and fuck their dicks. That ain't even no good dick no more, especially coming from black men. That ain't no good dick no more. That's some spoiled milk dick. Anytime you hear niggas running, I'm a king. You ain't no motherfucking king. That's another thing. We don't need to feed into that king shit. That was some misinformation that was given to black people to help you dethrone who you really are. Because in action, well, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to help out low vibrating people. I'm not even going to tell you. You calling yourself a king or a queen is denoting who you really are. That is some misinformation that was propagated in the conscious community, and it was birthed out of, again, the prison system and the penal system. You ain't no king. You ain't no king. You're not. No matter what you do, you're not a king. See, I don't look at myself as a king. I'm an emperor. I'm an emperor. I don't look at myself as a king. I'm the emperor, bitch. Nobody's going to tell me what I am. Nobody's going to dictate to me what I am, but the universe. And the universe tells me I'm an emperor, not a king. I will say this to black women: call yourself the empress. You're above the queen. You're an empress. Some of you, not all. Same with black men. I wasn't going to say anything, but you should be calling yourself the emperor, not a king. But you've allowed yourself to be denoted and denounced to a throne. A throne is restricted. That's restrictive. But because you listen to what others tell you, and because you believe all of that jail mythology bullshit, you've been restricted and denoted to a position that you're supposed to be above. You're supposed to be the emperor, not the king. You're supposed to dictate to the king. Kings only rule one kingdom. The emperor is a more spiritual person that has a connection to the universe, God, and the spirit. That is why, black men, you've been disconnected, because you're calling yourself things that you're not. And I really don't even want to help you out this way, but damn it, the universe said, go ahead and tell them, Seer. Go ahead and tell them. Okay, I'll tell you. You're not a king. And at this point, you're not even acting as an emperor. You're acting as a follower. That is why I said, gay people, we're not here to get caught up in that stuff. We're not here to get caught up in that. We're here to help raise the vibration on the planet and to bring awareness, to bring enlightenment. And it has nothing to do with sexual orientation or what you are attracted to sexually. It has become that, but that's not what it's about. It's about enlightenment and raising the frequency on the planet, assisting in raising the frequency on the planet. Anyway, this is the occult view. I thought I would come back through because I had a few more things to say, and that's that.